You're looking at the PortKeys MT20 Field Director's Monitor. This is a 19.5-inch monitor that is 4K capable. It takes a 4K signal via HDMI or SDI, downsamples it to their 1920 by 1080 screen resolution, and it makes it look phenomenal. All of this is being wirelessly transmitted via their Claymore system using my Canon C200. I kind of want to change up how I'm reviewing things. Maybe this more personable side of it will make these reviews more interesting because there's a lot of stuff to cover with the PortKeys MT20. Now, with that being said, let's take a closer look at the monitor's ports and its capabilities. Then we'll look at the Claymore system in more detail. Let's hop into it. All right, so this panel is 19.5 inches, 1920 by 1080, and is capable of taking a 4K signal in and downsampling it to that resolution. It is a 3001 contrast ratio. It is an 8-bit IPS panel, so that could be a downside to you if you're shooting with 10-bit and you need that color accuracy. Another thing with this is that it is 250 nits of maximum capable brightness. It has been kind of difficult in using in bright environments, so it being a director or a field director's monitor, you would kind of assume that it would have more capability in the brightness department. The good thing is that PortKeys includes a sun hood. Another really important aspect about this display is that it has 178 degrees of viewing angle vertically and horizontally. I will say that this panel holds up really well when you get out onto the outer fringes of the viewing angle. It doesn't fall apart like some cheaper IPS panels. One thing that you will notice is the reflective capability of it. You can see my iMac in the back there. So if you're going to use this outside, you're really going to have to make use of the included sun hood with this monitor. There are a plethora of different mounts on this monitor. Let's go ahead and talk about this side. First, you can see the power on and off switch. It's an actual switch. And then you got VESA mounts here and here. You can also purchase some accessories to mount V-mount or Anton Bauer batteries to this monitor. There are threads galore on this actual aluminum housing. So it's really a really tough, stout monitor that's built really, really well. On this, you can see that there are 1/4-20 threads all throughout the whole display. There's even some on the bottom here. Then you got these rubber feet that are protective because when you purchase this thing, it comes with a tabletop stand. I removed that and put this impact VESA mount monitor adapter here so I can mount it to this impact wheeled light stand so I could get it around my studio. You can see that there are DC 5-volt out here and 12-volt XLR 4-pin outs as well. So it also acts as kind of a power hub because you can output all kinds of power from this monitor. So there's also this power indicator light that shows that there is power being delivered to the monitor itself. Even when you turn off the monitor, that will stay lit. It will only go off when you unplug it completely from the wall. On this side of the upper housing of the monitor, you can see that there is USB power out. This is capable of outputting 5 volts, and that is currently powering the Claymore receiver down here at the bottom. This also has D-tap out that is 12 to 24 volts. So if you want to connect any type of different wireless receiver system, this is more than capable of powering that. So right here you can see the menu navigation jog dial. It's a rollable dial that is accessed by just pressing the wheel, and then you get into the menu system and you can roll it and kind of navigate the menu that way. Then there's an exit button here. This monitor also has some built-in speakers that is capable of outputting audio from whatever source that you're monitoring. There's also this row of function keys that are capacitive in nature. As I float my finger on top of them, I can see what the function key is actually set to. These are all customizable via the menu system. So as I float over zooming, I can just kind of touch it, and then when I press the button, I can zoom in. As you press the menu key, you can navigate the system in this manner. And then you can also go into the function setup and set those individual function keys to what it is you want. So they're all customizable. Let's go ahead and take a look at the functions that are available. There's a check field, HV delay, some guides, I have that set, crosshairs, grids. There's peaking built into this, so if you wanted to use it. I will say when you have the on-screen display put out to this, the peaking will highlight all of that information as well. So if we take a look at that, I think I have peaking set. You can see that it's doing a good job doing that, but as soon as I turn the on-screen display on the C200, you can see that everything on the screen is being peaked because it's all in focus. So just make sure that you're aware of that. If you're going to use the peaking, make sure that you have a clean signal coming into the actual system. This has false color capabilities, so let's go ahead and enable that. There's a whole IRE grid here. Since we talked about those a little bit, let's go ahead and talk about all of the I/O on this actual display. Starting on this side of the input-output that's all facing downward, you have two XLR inputs that are capable of giving 48-volt phantom power. So if you want to connect some sort of monitoring shotgun microphone or something like that, this is capable of powering those. You got a 4-pin XLR power input that has the capability of outputting 12 to 24 volt. Here's the DC port that is used to power the monitor via wall outlet. It is 12 to 24 volts, and the power consumption on this is 25 watts. You have an extended key, micro or mini, I forget the type of USB connector, it's been such a long time, but that's there. You got a full USB-A port here that is used for upgrading the monitor's firmware. You have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Then you have an actual Ethernet GPI connector here. So here's where it gets interesting. You have 3 HDMI ports. The middle is in, but it's the 4K signal. So if you're sending a 4K signal to the monitor, it needs to be connected here. This also has pass-through capabilities. So this is out, and then you have a regular in. So if anything that's HD quality, you have a passed in here. With this being the bottom of the monitor, you can see that I've connected the Claymore receiver here via a quarter 20, and they provide these little adapters here. So I'm just gonna remove it so we can take a closer look at this here. You have audio capabilities and a CVPS video channel. So if you have some older equipment, this adapts to that really nicely. Here is a SDI in and another SDI in, and this has also pass-through capabilities via SDI. So since we've talked about the MT20, I want to talk about how I'm displaying video via my C200 to this thing wirelessly. It's the Claymore by PortKeys. So this is the receiver. It's really small and has kind of a little mount here so we can mount it to the MT20. On this side of it, you have the power in, which is 5 volt via USB, and this can be powered using any high-powered battery bank or anything like that. So that's a really nice feature. And then the on and off switch. On the other side, you have the HDMI out, and then you have the reset switch. On the back side, this part right here gets kind of hot when it's working. Just be careful when you touch it. And then on the bottom you have a vent system. Towards the front you can see the receiver marking here. Then you have the glass covering over the antenna. All right, so here's the transmitter. It's pretty big, as you can see my hands here. And it's all clearly labeled for all of the ports that are on this thing. This thing gets hot just like the receiver, so be careful of handling this when you use it for long periods of time. Around this side you have the HDMI ports. So it is capable of taking in HDMI and also acting as a pass-through. On the back side, you see that it's Canon LPE6 battery compatible. One thing that doesn't come with it is this battery, so calculate that cost into purchasing this system as well. Right here you have the power button, turn it on and off, and it also gives you a nifty little power indicator checker for the battery. I will say that one battery lasts a really, really long time. I haven't been able to kill a battery on this system. On this side you have SDI in and out because it acts as a pass-through via that connection as well. And you got a mini XLR power connector. If you want to connect this via V-mount battery using DTAP, that gives you the capability of doing that without using the Canon battery. So here I want to showcase the latency and the delay in the response of the actual wireless transmission. It's not 0, but it's really, really fast. It does a really good job, in my opinion. Because as you can see, it's like near real time, and it works really well in a smaller like studio environment. I don't know how well this would be for like outdoors types of stuff or connecting wireless for long transmissions, but for me in a small studio, this is a perfect setup. It literally reacts almost real time. So that about does it for this video on the PortKeys MT20 and wireless Claymore system. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them down below. Before I close, I must disclose PortKeys was kind enough to send these two systems out to me for testing and review. Well, that about does it for me in this one. If you like this video, please feel free to give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what to do. Thank you for taking the time to watch. I'm Tomas, and I will catch you in the next one.